Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
Good morning. It is time for Coffee Ann here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. It's Monday morning, February 6th in the year 2023. My name is Joe Callahan at the Coffee Ann table. Let's say good morning to Melissa Murray. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning.
And Garrett Manseri. Hi, Garrett.
Good morning, everybody.
Nice to have both of you join us here. It's the anniversary of the Blizzard of 78. Who remembers it?
I do.
I do not.
Kids.
Not alive, so
No,
sorry.
it didn't make it. All right. So, do you barely remember it, or
No, I remember it
Yeah?
well. I
Okay.
was almost 4, 3.5. I was
Wow.
3.5. But I just remember at my grandmother's house, she had a barn. And, they have that like little second story up on the barn. And the snow was piled up so high after it was plowed, eventually after days,
Yeah.
that we dug our way into the little door to go upstairs in the barn. And then we just slid down.
Oh, I thought
from
you'd jump off
second-
the roof.
No, we actually slid down from the second floor.
So I'm in the 6th grade, and I can still remember Mr. Davidson got it completely wrong because we went to school that morning.
Oh, my
And,
God.
oh yeah,
Oh, my
and
goodness.
we're watching it snow, and he's like, it's going to be nothing. That is an exact quote. This is nothing. And we're looking out are you sure this is nothing? An hour later, okay, everybody get ready, you're going home. Because it was just, all
Before you
right.
get stuck, you would have gotten stuck in the school for days.
Oh, that would have been ugly. Yeah, that would not have been good at all. As it was, even by 10 or 11 in the morning as we were going home, the school bus couldn't make the route it normally made. So, all right, close enough. Walk from here. And this, okay, down this street, and then down this street, and then down that street. Okay, we're all set. But I made it, so that was
never
good.
would have happened today.
No, you're right. All right, we are expecting Governor Dan McKee, to join us early, anytime now. We're getting a call from him. But in the meantime, since Garrett is here, Woonsocket City Council meeting tonight?
We have 2 meetings, actually. Yeah.
What's going on tonight?
So one is closed session. So there was a couple items on the docket, including Synagro, which is one of my least favorite topics, but we're going to discuss it. And
And what are you going to discuss? What do we do with them?
So we believe that there's been some issues with the contract. So we're going to go over the contract as to what the city, legally can accomplish by enforcing some of those provisions.
Are they breaking the contract with what they're doing?
So
is that what you think?
I would say that they are, and that's something that we're asking the legal department to determine for us as to whether they're actually breaking the contract. But they are clearly creating a problem in the neighborhood, especially in the last couple of years. So we just want to address that and see what options the city has in terms of that. And then the second item is in regards to 162 Main Street, which is the Rhode Island Hospital Trust building across from the City Hall. So we're going to go on with that and learn about a lawsuit between the owners and as to what the city can do in terms of possibly taking ownership of the property, I think. So
Are the
we'll
owners
discuss that.
the owners have a lawsuit against the city or somebody else?
It says on here, I see Duar Carrero, which is one of the owners, and then Woonsocket Main Street Developers LLC, which was also the owner of the property, the entity that owned the property. So it looks like one of the owners is suing the LLC, so which is interesting. So
Okay.
we'll learn more about that.
And that's in the closed session.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. What about the open session? What's on the agenda for this evening?
I don't know if we have time. It's lengthy.
Well, you don't
so
have to
we
tell
might
me
do it
everything.
in
Hit the
sections, but-
highlights, Garrett. What's the juicy stuff happening?
The juicy stuff. So we are taking out a bond. Should be second passage to issue new water meters, which it needs to be done. Something that long overdue, and also transferring the money from the sale of the middle school to the general fund to help balance the budget. So that's 2 items that will be second passage. And then you can skip over, granting a petition for a joint pool. Nobody cares about that. But one thing that I am not really in support of, and I guess we can talk about it on the show, is the assessment of a fee for a no-show scheduled appointment. So the city is submitting legislation to submit a $50 fee if you set up an appointment with the inspection department and you do not show for that appointment.
Why would you do that? Usually you would think it'd be the other way around. The city forgets to show up for whatever reason.
So
but if you set up the appointment, you should be there. You set it up.
Well, my guess is that there are appointments being set up and the city is going and the owner or the tenant is not there.
Okay.
So they want to get paid for their time, which,
All
as
right.
we all know, doesn't really go back into the department, and that money goes to the general fund. So this is a revenue generator, which I don't believe would be an awful lot. I mean, it's not going to be thousands and thousands of dollars that is going to come into the city. So
I imagine it would be a negligible amount.
And it will be a lot to enforce because now they will not come back and inspect until they pay the $50 fee, which is the way that the ordinance is written. So it will delay projects and delay businesses from moving in. So
you're against this?
I'm not going to be supporting it. No.
Oh, I kind of like it though. Just keeps people honest.
Yes, but how many no-shows are there going to be? Just my opinion. I don't vote on this, right? So, how many no-shows are there really going to be? Okay, so there's 10. It's
it's small.
$250, and then for whatever reason the person no-shows, but then their project also gets delayed. I mean,
but if it's on the docket, is it a real problem from from the city's point of view?
My first
they're having
question
a
would
lot
be
of it.
sure. My first question would be okay. In the past year, how many no-shows have there been? If there's 5, 6, 10. If there's 105, okay, then what? Then there's something going on there that probably is
and you also
extenuating.
will need to do like a excuse police, right? So if somebody's having a heart attack, you're going to charge them $50 because they didn't make it to their appointment.
Well, that's right.
Like how are you going to determine who's going to determine who's going to enforce? Yeah, it's always about enforcement.
That's the issue that you have with that. If someone's car breaks down, you're going to charge them $50 for that. That really wasn't their fault. So now you're going to get into fault, not fault, and somebody said it was 2:00 when it's supposed to be 1:00. I mean, I can tell you every single week of my life, Joe. Like I set up an appointment and somebody doesn't show up. That's called my life. And certainly if somebody shows up 3 times and they don't come, then I just don't even show them the property at that time. I'm like, hey, listen, you've had 3 opportunities to come and see the property. I'm not interested in working with you anymore.
Blacklist them.
So that's a situation. But I mean, one time $50. I mean, I would love to charge $50 for every appointment that doesn't show. That would be great for me.
Well, from the private sector, I don't see it's going to work very well.
I did my math wrong. I thought it was $25. That's $50. So yeah, okay, it'd be $500.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't note there was a called in. It just says, I'm with Garrett, but my question is, what happens when the plumbing inspector doesn't show up on time? Do we get $50 back?
That'd be a good question.
That is
a good argument.
It's a great question.
Argument.
You were supposed to be here at 1:30. It's 2:15. What's going on?
Yep.
What about my time?
Exactly.
That's a great idea.
Exactly.
But I really don't see the city handing out checks for this.
That
by
would
the
cost
way.
us even more money than what this would generate. So yeah,
that's right. They could get stuck somewhere, or they could have a flat tire,
absolutely, or they can have an issue that takes longer than it should.
Yeah.
But it's just so it's one of those things that it's unfortunately one of the things that we have to deal with.
Okay. Does it have support on the council?
I don't know. It was sponsored by the council president on behalf of the administration, so I don't know even whether he supports it. I haven't talked to the council president about it. So.
All right. Anything else on there?
So I also have an ordinance on there to amend the tax stabilization program. So when then Councilwoman Murray and myself were there, we created the Downtown Overlay District, which has been very successful. It's attracted a lot of investors to come and do projects in the community. So we also passed a tax stabilization program, which allowed for the freezing of taxes for 3 years and then a phase-in year after year after year on the new assessment. So they did, when they established the program, they included all of the current overlay district, which was basically from Market Square to Monument Square. And then the council expanded that to North Main Street, and I would like to expand it even larger if we have the support. But all of the North Main Street expansion was not included in the tax stabilization program. So what this ordinance does is it loops in every single property that's in the overlay district, so that if it gets larger, smaller, whatever, it's included in the tax stabilization program as well too.
Good catch.
Okay. Looks like a lengthy agenda, and so it could be a lengthy meeting tonight, huh?
I think it could be. I think for the most part, it's pretty simple, understood legislation that's being submitted. So even though there's a lot of items on the docket, I'm hoping that there's
Quick
not
voting
much
on it?
discussion, because it seems to be pretty obvious as
All
to
straightforward?
For me, it is anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things to debate on here. The most thing that will take the most amount of time, I believe, is a resolution authorizing the appointment of Christine Chamberlain to the position of Enterprise Fund Finance Administrator. So the current finance director, Christine Chamberlain, was going to go to North Smithfield and take a finance position there. And the administration is proposing this new position. However, we have some questions as to how this was put together, because in terms of creating a new position, that would require a budget amendment ordinance. It would require a personnel ordinance to create the position, and then it would also create an ordinance to extend the maximum amount of full-time employees that we have, because every year the city council limits the maximum amount of full-time employees based on the budget. So I believe it would take 3 ordinances to create that position if the council wants to go ahead and do that. But we're going to learn more about that tonight.
Okay. All right. So you got your hands full this evening. So the closed session that starts at 6.
Correct.
And then the public session will begin at 7. We'll have it for you here on ON Radio as well for tonight's Woonsocket City Council meeting. It was really cold over the weekend. How did it work out over at the warming center? Would the people take advantage of it? So what happened there?
Okay, so where do we start?
Where do you start? I don't know. I was out of town, so I don't know.
Oh, right, that's right. So first of all, I just want to give a shout out and a huge thanks to all of the organizations and nonprofits that came together to do this. It was really an incredible amount of work, and there's so many other people. I know that the councilman gathered blankets, and just a total coordinated effort with community members serving food and making food in their own kitchens for these folks. I would say probably about 20. I heard a bunch of folks got vouchers for the motor inn. However, they did come to the center for meals
Food, okay.
because they didn't have meals provided with that. So I would say the number was a lot higher than 20 of folks who were unhoused. It was supposed to be in St. James Episcopal Church. One of the boilers broke down, and so it was moved.
Where was it moved to?
I'll let Gary
So
continue.
during the day, they went to the Serenity Center, which is just down the street on Main Street. So they were able to stay warm. And it wasn't too terribly cold in there, but, I think they felt that it was better to just move the people to another center for the day. And then that site was again approved for the nighttime. So it was warm enough for them to sleep in the site. So, it was a situation that, like the senator said, we kind of pulled everybody together, and it was great to have that option because it was so bone-chilling cold out.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't even I couldn't even walk from my car to the building, so I couldn't imagine trying to sleep outside all night long. So it was good to have that option. It was a necessity, really.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break here in the Coffee and program. The governor is on the phone, so we want to get to him in just a couple of seconds here. But more Coffee And's coming up. Stay tuned.
When you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
The Coffee and panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
We're local and live at 99.5.
It's Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan along with Melissa Murray and Garrett Mansiri. And joining us on the phone, Governor Dan McKee. Hello, Governor.
Hi, Joe. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us for a little while this morning. And first off, Governor, congratulations. The governor's a grandfather.
Yes, I heard congratulations.
Congratulations,
Well, we're very excited here at the McKee family.
Yeah.
Mabel James McKee, born last Monday, and son Matthew and his wife Laura. So Susan and I are proud grandparents.
Excellent. And everybody's healthy?
Healthy and happy. Those are the two good combinations.
Excellent. All right. First thing I wanted to ask you about, Governor, is because of what happened, all the cold temperatures over the weekend. You had an issue at the Cranston Street Armory with broken windows. Has everything been fixed down there?
Yeah, we can't make this stuff up. You know,
Right.
The cold weather, and there was a number of outages and a number of different things that happened because of that cold snap, and the Armory wasn't exempted from it. But I did visit there Saturday night, and the temperature was rising, and by Sunday morning it was back to normal, and we were able to move some of the couples that were there to a facility that was planned to open up today. We opened it up a few days earlier. So all in all, I think that the spirits were good, and I want to just say that a DCAM with the property management crew, they were up 90 feet, Joe, repairing a window that had broke up 90 feet up. I don't know if you've ever been in the Armory, but it is a tall field house there in the section. So they were up there doing the work. The National Guard really stepped up in a big way, as they have been, along with the Amos House. So things went well, not perfect, but certainly people were safe.
All right, great. And Green Airport was not immune to the bad weather either. They had a busted pipe as well over the weekend.
I think there'll be multiple stories being told this week about that cold weather, which was, I think it was a record-breaking temperature, in terms of, low temperatures and wind chills. So that 48, 36-hour time frame was cold. And cold means frozen pipes and broken windows.
Right. Well, the good news is I flew into Green Airport late yesterday afternoon, and everything was fine. So
good. Did I welcome you to Green Airport? I have a message there. Welcome to Rhode Island.
I don't know if it's still there. I was a little too worried about my luggage, but I'm sure it's still there. So anyway,
we have some warm weather, Joe.
Actually, I was. I had to fly down to Texas. So when I flew out of here, it was 20 degrees, and when I landed in Houston, it was 55.
There you go. Well,
so it was nice.
Probably going to be 40 degrees today around here. So
that's right.
Hopefully that was our winter. We don't need any snow.
Yeah, we're all done now, right?
The cities and towns and states and businesses and people trying to work their way through the roads of it snow. So I've got my fingers crossed for everybody that we save that money and we roll right into a good spring.
Okay, and so other things going on. Governor, your proposed 23-24 fiscal budget is requesting that we cut the current sales tax 7% down to 6.85. What do you say to people that say, no, we should go even lower, down to 5?
Well, I think that the public should know that that's a big number in the budget, right? So taking a 7 to 5 is somewhere around $380 million or more that you would have to balance in the budget, which is a little bit more than what I believe you can handle. I think that an incremental strategy, Joe, makes sense to move the sales tax down. I think we'll be the first, if not the first, one of the first. I think the first to lower a sales tax in the last decade. Clearly, the only state that will be lowering sales tax after the pandemic. And if you go down that one piece, I mean, if the General Assembly wants to do more, and we can balance in the budget, then fine. The idea is to go incrementally like we did with the car tax. And I think everybody's happy with the car tax now, the lack of a car tax, right? No car tax here. No vehicle tax for small businesses. So we can, I think, incrementally move down. Could accelerate
step
it a little bit
down.
more if that would happen. But if you do it annually over the next 4 years, the goal is to get down to into a range where Massachusetts and Connecticut is, and that we wouldn't be the second highest sales tax in the country any longer. In fact, this one move would take us out of that top 5, in terms of highest sales tax in the country. So I think that it's all part of a plan to become competitive with Massachusetts, Connecticut in all respects, and we'll see what the General Assembly feels about it.
Okay. Other things that making the news, especially with you, Governor, you talk about signing a gun violence bill or something along those lines, or for assault weapons. Do you see that coming across your desk anytime soon?
I hope that the General Assembly takes that up really early in the session, so that I know that these controversial issues certainly create a great deal of discussion. So it would be great if they could take that up early in the session, so that we can lower the sales tax and get a broad, have no broad-based tax increases. I think that people generally don't understand this. Look, there's been 50 mass shootings in January alone in the country. We know that states that have safety measures put in place are safer. Safer states are easier to live in, and the economy is stronger. So I think that the General Assembly will really take this up seriously this year, and then we get moving to the budget, which is really the most important piece of business right now, in my opinion, to keep the economy moving in the right direction.
Okay. I don't want to hog all this, anybody. So, Melissa Murray, you got a statement or a question?
I do. I have a statement, and I was happy to read, and if you listen to Don Brunel's show on our station, he's always talked about this. He's talked about it for years, and that is moving towards decarceration for folks who have illnesses and who are sick. And I was pleased to see that, and I wanted to commend you for that. I think that moving towards decarceration is always a good idea. It's a huge cost, but for those folks who, have committed crimes that are,
lesser,
lesser, and they're maybe they're older and they have, some kind of physical health issue. I think getting them out of the general population is not a bad idea.
So we think that it's a good idea to try to do right by people who are serving time. Last year we put a great deal of money in the budget to connect them into training courses. I believe that that's set up right now, and put in some funds for radio service to make sure that the personnel that's there has good communications going on. So I think that you're smart about things, and you make sure that people who do commit crimes, so they should pay that price. But as they're serving, we also have to be aware of the conditions that they're in.
Okay, Garrett, do you have anything you want to mention to the governor at this moment?
Sure. Good morning, Governor. How are you?
I'm good, Garrett. Good to see you.
Good.
to talk to you.
I was just wondering. I know there's a few things in the budget that can help people, especially here in Woonsocket, and some of the projects that we're working on. So I wanted to see if you could elaborate on that and let the listening audience know what exactly is in that budget for Woonsocket and can benefit the people here in the city.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things that one is we put a statewide strategy in, and we're hoping that the General Assembly will think it's good to invest in our roads, our local roads. Yeah, so we put a $20 million amount of dollars. Remember we had a strong surplus. We're trying to invest those surpluses in our communities and in the people in the state. So we have a $20 million ask, and then we'll have a matching strategy where communities around the state can use some of the surpluses to help repair the roads. We also put in, on the mayor's request, a line item to help if you actually move forward on a public safety complex in the community. I think it's a positive thing for Woonsocket. So we did put a line item in there to help and assist on that. I think it's around $7 million. We also have funded education differently, and Woonsocket will benefit from that. I felt as though that Woonsocket could receive more dollars in the current formulas, and I think there's about close to $10 million more for the schools in that budget. And we are also working on a strategy that can help accelerate new school buildings in Woonsocket. So those are things that are really important, but I think that other things that we're doing is going to impact people in Woonsocket as much as around the state, that reducing the sales tax incrementally, doing it responsibly. We're going to, for our small businesses, we're going to ask the General Assembly to take another reduction on the corporate minimum tax, bring it down to $375 from $400. We're also proposing to stop by statute, we're supposed to be increasing the gas tax by 3 cents. We're using some of the surplus to delay that or eliminate that for at least 2 years, which I think is going to help save people money. We're also asking the General Assembly early to approve a legislation that can bring a rebate of 4% over the winter months on everybody's utility bill, electric bill, and 3% on the gas bill. That's going to save ratepayers about $35 million right now this year. And the other piece that we're doing, which I think is important, I was up in Woonsocket, in the fall on a litter program. We're going to really put a big focus on keeping Rhodey litter free. Ask people to go to the website litterfree.ri.gov, and we put a line item in the budget to help support that website so that we're really focusing on litter free type of activity, and at the same time eliminate a litter tax for businesses that will save about 3,000 or 4,000 businesses, many in Woonsocket, that aggravation of paying one of those fees to open up their business. So many things in here. We're doing last year we did which the General Assembly approved. It was allowing motorcycle trade-ins to be taken off the sale price to calculate sales tax. We're asking the General Assembly to do that on pickup trucks right now, up to 14,000 pounds. That's a unlevel playing field that we have between Massachusetts and Connecticut. It's our car dealerships are used and new car dealerships don't get the benefit of that, and I think that's going to raise the amount of business that will be done in our car dealership. And there's many car dealerships in Woonsocket that I'm aware of. So those are just some of the things that we're working on, and of course the housing issue, which is front and center. I know you were talking about that coming. We put in a line item in the budget using some of the federal dollars that weren't used by the health department during the COVID crisis, and hopefully that's in a rear view mirror so we can kind of keep moving along. Mm-hmm. But we put a significant amount of money in to control some real estate relative to homelessness, and then we've just put in new leadership on our Secretary of Housing, which Stephen Pryor and Hannah Moore start today officially to talk about what it makes sense in terms of housing around the state, and with 21 staff members to house the housing department that the General Assembly passed last year, and it was supposed to be activated in this next fiscal year. So a lot of things. Happy to be continually working on issues about education. Our goal is very simple: raise education outcomes, raise income, and raise help in our families across the state. That's our theme of our Rhode Island 2030 plan, and hopefully we'll be able to work with the City Council up in Woonsocket, Garrett, along with the mayor and the school department to make good things happen in Woonsocket, to help you make good things happen in Woonsocket.
All right. Sounds good. Governor, one more question before we let you go. Is there any talk in your office or in the State House at all? Because last year, Massachusetts gave back rebates to its residents because there was a surplus. Any talk of doing the same thing in Rhode Island?
No, that's by some sort of statute in Massachusetts. We've kicked the can down the road, Joe, so many times on things. Mm-hmm. We're going to invest these dollars like for instance at Eleanor Slater last year. We used surplus dollars to appropriate to do something that should have been done years ago at Eleanor Slater. We're investing in roads that we think are really important. As I just explained, both we put in dollars to offset the loss of toll revenue for 2 years as that case is being settled so that we can keep on repairing roads and bridges in the state. So the dollars, the surplus dollars that we're using or asking the General Assembly approve are on investments, one-time investments that put people to work and then have long-term benefits. So we believe that that's the way to go. That's how we're going to be able to do the things that I just laid out if the General Assembly approves it. So if the General Assembly approves some sort of a strategy that surpluses would go back, at this point in time, I think that relief on electric bills, relief on, last year we did over 100,000 checks to families for that have children, $250 a piece on the dollars that we've had. So we're being very responsible about the way that we're using these dollars. And quite frankly, Joe, this is an opportunity to continue to try to manage with surpluses and invest it back in the state of Rhode Island in a way that we get long-term benefits.
All right, Governor, I'm going to let you go. One more quick, though, question. Who do you like in the Super Bowl this Sunday?
Well, I'm a Brady fan. I'm a Patriot fan, so it really doesn't matter to me, but I'll watch it.
All right, very good. Governor, thanks for joining us on the Coffee and program today. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care
Thank
now.
you.
Bye.
Senator.
Bye now. All right, Governor Dan McKee joining us on the Coffee and program. And we're going to take another break right now, and it's time for a look at the forecast, which is being brought to you by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. Today, partly sunny with a high temperature near 47 with a light north wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy, gradually becoming clear with a low temperature around 23, north wind 9 to 14 miles per hour, wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. Tuesday, increasing clouds with a high temperature near 40. Tuesday night, chance of rain and snow before midnight. Little or no snow accumulation is expected. Cloudy, gradually becoming partly cloudy with a low temperature around 32. Wednesday, sunny and a high near 48. Thursday, cloudy, rain likely in the afternoon, high near 50. Currently outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio on the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we do have cloudy skies and 38 degrees. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org. Woonsocket's newest antique store has doubled in size. Passed Down in Time now has more room for you to browse their unique gifts, Crossroad candles, old books, and many other vintage objects and collectibles. Passed Down in Time is directly across the street from Woonsocket City Hall on Main Street. Stop in and say hi to Cindy Wednesday through Saturday. Passed Down in Time invites you to discover the wondrous items that await you. Come in today. Passed Down in Time.
The Broaster House is well known for its broasted chicken, family-style chicken, and family packs. But they also have an extensive menu of customer favorites, beginning with appetizers like the Broaster House Sampler, with hot nuggets, boneless chicken, mozzarella sticks, onion rings, and fried ravioli. The Broaster House also has great salads like their antipasto, ribeye steak sandwich, seafood menu, including fried scallops, clam strip dinner, and broasted or English fish and chips, even a children's menu. Check their website at broasterhouseri.com for their catering menu or call 762-1717. The Broaster House, 263 Pond Street, Woonsocket. Open 7 days a week.
Uh-oh, it's that time again.
Hi, it's Cupid, and we're going to shoot the arrow at your lover.
That's right. The charming little cherub is back, and this year he's got glasses. Yep, picked him up at the Goodwill.
Oh, sorry about that.
Listen in to ON Radio for your chance to call in and guess how many arrows Cupid will have to shoot to land one in your lover's heart. Winners go into a drawing for a $100 Cardi's Furniture gift card, a $50 gift card to Park Square Florist, or a $25 gift card to River Falls Restaurant. Losers get a nice imported chocolate consolation prize. Listen, play, win with ON Radio.
All right, it's Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan with Melissa Murray. Garrett Man Series here as well. And I saw, Garrett, that Woonsocket got a nice grant. $6.5 million. Did I have that number right, to fix the bridges?
Correct.
From Senator Jack Reed?
Correct, yeah.
Wow.
So I think every year, the administration meets with the federal delegation and talks about certain projects that they want funded. And this has always been something that many residents and business owners have asked us to do, is to fix and repair the bridges. And it's been something that really is unattainable for the taxpayers to foot. So we'd have to do it in small increments over time. We can't just allocate $6 million of the budget to that. So, I think she met with Senator Reid and said this is a priority, and he ended up giving us the money. So we're in good shape now. So
When can that start?
So it will take about 2 years, I believe, to actually have the money allocated and put all the bids out and get all the permits or whatever. So you shouldn't see any actual work being done for 2 years. And then the rest will get finished over a span of 5 years.
This is great news.
So,
Because people always, you're always worried about the bridges, especially the really higher ones, like the Court Street Bridge and
just
like that.
Yeah, the repairs and also just the look of the bridges.
Yeah.
I mean, I hated driving over them and seeing them
All the
and
rust.
seeing them falling apart. And
Yeah.
it's just like, it was a bad image for the
Sales
city.
Street, and especially going into Fairmount, going over the
Yeah.
river.
And so many people said, why don't you just go paint them, And unfortunately, they don't allow us to do that. So it's like,
Right,
if you're going to
right.
require us to do all this lead remediation, give us the money to do it. I mean, we're not opposed to doing it, but, give us the money to do it, and we can do it properly, So
Is 6.5 enough for all the bridges in the city, or is the city still going to have to come up with money on its own to continue it? Do you know?
Well, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, obviously,
goes
it's
out to
something that
bid?
has to go out to bid, and
Yeah.
we anticipate what the prices can be, but you never know. I mean, we don't know what the cost of labor and materials are going to be, 5 years down the road. So, it's something that I think it's definitely a good start, and hopefully we get done, anywhere between 10 to 14 of the bridges, So, it's definitely a good launching pad for us to get all this work done. And then
Who prioritizes which bridge is done first?
Oh, good question.
I would assume that would be DOT, who has more experience than
Yeah.
we do.
Right.
So I know that Singleton and River Street are the two that are mostly
They're
the
unsightly.
first projects. that
Yeah.
we, Yep.
All right, so that's great news. So congrats, and our thanks to Senator Reid for getting the money for us. That's
And people
fantastic.
say that they shouldn't be giving out this money or whatever. The reality is the money's going to
Why
go out.
not?
The money's going to go out. I mean, that's the reality. So the question is, are you going to get it for Rhode Island, and are you going to get it for Woonsocket?
Yeah.
So I'd rather get it and do it. But I mean, is it federal taxpayer money? Yes, it is. But I think that's what you pay your taxes for. To
have
get
stuff
these
like this
projects
done.
done. And I'd rather pay my taxes and get something in Woonsocket than to pay my taxes and not get anything in Woonsocket.
All right.
That's the
Okay.
way that I look at it.
Exactly.
All right, so no, that's great news that this money is coming. Just looking at some of the other news stories, and a sad story out of Burrillville, they recovered a body that was in a pond. Can you imagine being in the water
No.
over this weekend?
No.
Bad enough being outside, but they don't know. They haven't. It's a female. That's all they're saying. They didn't say how she died or how she got in the water. I don't know where Little Round Top Pond is.
Nor do I.
It's in. I guess it's near Harrisville, because they're the fire department that came and got her out. They said she was half submerged in the water. Don't know if she fell in or if she was something else happened. But boy, as soon as your body hits in that cold
Doesn't
weather,
take
hits
very
that
long.
cold water.
Doesn't take very long at all.
No, you're
Minutes.
hypothermia is gonna set in almost immediately, and then that's kind of it. All right, so they'll be working on that. You didn't hear anything in Woonsocket. I don't think anyone, not that I heard of, has had any kind of bad luck in terms of passing away because of the cold temperatures over the weekend.
I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think, like we were talking about this before, I think that's a testament to the huge need in Woonsocket for housing for folks who are unhoused, and especially supportive housing with those wraparound services to keep them housed. You can put someone in a hotel, but unless they get those services that they really need, mental health services, maybe they have substance use. Some of these folks have jobs, giving them, workforce development. Unless those elements are in place, then you're kind of setting people up to fail, so to speak. But I think, this really, unfortunately, it took this major cold snap for attention to be focused on it. It is doable. the community did it, with broader help from the state, I think we can make this happen.
Okay, well, something to work on. Now, Melissa, you're in the. I found the story somewhat amusing. The Rhode Island General Assembly's Black and Latino Caucus has decided to change their name,
Yes.
and I don't know how they're going to fit it on the letterhead. Black, Latino, Indigenous, Asian American, and Pacific Islander Caucus.
Yes, I saw that.
Just
Yep.
about everybody.
Yes, it's very inclusive.
Well,
we have our
yes.
two first Asian female senators, which I think is great. We're really, I think the Senate is really diverse now, and I think that's wonderful. We had half women for like a couple of months. Till we had a senator leave for a job in Washington, and that seat opened up. But equity is important, and different voices are important. And you need those voices at the table in order to make decisions that are best for everybody. If you don't have that point of view, then how can you make decisions for a population that you don't have intimate knowledge of?
Sure.
You can't.
Well, that's what they're saying. The name change, it's reflecting their evolving values and mission. And they want to help everybody. So
Right.
we had to change our name. So
And speaking of that, Joe, so a piece of legislation that I have on the agenda as well on Monday is to create the first Woonsocket Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board. And that really stems from the, if you remember a couple years ago, they had a racist policy review committee that actually went through and made some good recommendations to the city. And unfortunately, none of those recommendations were taken up for a vote. Were voted up or down. They just kind of dismissed the reports. So one of those things that they asked for is for a continuation of the committee. And I didn't really want to frame it like that because I think it was...
were there people already on this committee?
They were, yeah.
Okay.
But their term ended at the end of the council term.
I
so
see.
that's why it wasn't reappointed.
Okay.
So they kind of, several of the members reached out and said, we want to continue this. We want to get a vote on some of these ideas. And really, it's not about putting, one race over another race. It's about trying to branch out to those other different cultural backgrounds and say, how can you be a part of city government? What can we do to reach out to you to get you to be involved, whether it
More
be
involved,
to
yeah, okay.
apply for jobs or apply for volunteer opportunities, During the campaign, we stopped in at the Tyra Club, which is primarily visited by African Americans, and they said, we don't know what's going on in the city. It would be great if you did some postings here and told us what jobs are available, told us what volunteer opportunities are available. So that's something that we're trying to look at and say, how can the city reach out and be and engage in the different communities, because not everybody reads the paper or listens to the news or whatever, goes on social media. So we're trying to figure out how can we outreach and communicate with you. So that's kind of primarily what this board is for.
How many members on the board?
So if it passes as it is, I'm proposing 11 members. So,
Oh, that's cool.
A
Good
chair.
size. Yeah.
The mayor gets a designee. Each council person gets a designee. And then there are 2 members from the Martin Luther King Community Committee.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. We hope it gets up and gets moving on that. So that's great.
Yeah, it is important on every level of government to have a seat at the table for folks. Just for a very small example, someone asked me to take some legislation that currently, right now, it's not codified that healthcare providers have to give you health care. They have to do that regardless of your race, ethnic background, but they can discriminate based on your source of income or your profession and a bunch of other things. So we wanted to be more inclusive and just codify that into state law. And so they put it down in front of me, and I said, well, we can also add gender identity and expression. And they said, oh yeah, we didn't think about that. But if a queer person hadn't been at that table, then right. And so instead of amending it, right, let's do it all together. Let's put everybody at that table, because when you have seats at that table for folks who are marginalized, you really you learn. You're like, well, I didn't think about that because that's not my perspective. So more is always better, in my opinion.
All right, very good. We do got to take a final break here on the Coffee AM program. More is coming up, so please stick around. The next time you're arguing with yourself about whether or not you should get something to eat at McDonald's, do this instead. Go the extra mile and go to the Beef Barn. The sandwiches are so much better, especially their slow-cooked roast beef. And of course, their French fries are the best around. The Beef Barn has 2 locations, Industrial Drive in North Smithfield and Pulaski Boulevard in Bellingham.
Hi, this is Mark Branchard. I'm inviting you to the Beef Barn.
The S. DePardo Memorial Chapel is a family business and dedicated to the highest standards of the profession. They believe in listening to each family's needs and providing options that are suitable to every particular situation, including calling hours, type of religious service or other forms of committal, and many other important details. The S. DePardo Memorial Chapel welcomes your questions about cremation, traditional burials, and pre-planning. The S. DePardo Memorial Chapel's beautiful Victorian-style facility is located at 1583 Diamond Hill Road, Woonsocket. Sue DePardo, proprietor, 767-5577.
Do you know King Jace? King Jace the 28th, the mysterious monarch of the Woonsocket Mardi Gras, is a man from the area who is well known. Here's another clue to the king's true identity. Clue number 3. King Jace would walk a mile for chicken tenders. If you think you know the name of the man who's playing King Jace, place $1 in an official King Jace Quest envelope, available at both Woonsocket radio stations and the offices of the Call newspaper on Main Street. King Jace will be unmasked by the Queen of the Mardi Gras at Savini's Pomodoro Restaurant, Rathbun Street, Sunday, February 12th. After the unmasking, a drawing will be held from all the correct guesses, and the winner will receive $50 cash. The King and Queen and her court will reign over the Woonsocket Mardi Gras festivities the following Saturday, February 18th, at the St. Anne Arts and Culture Hall on Cumberland Street. Do you know King Jace?
All right, it is Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan, Garrett Man Series here, and Melissa Murray is here as well. So, as I mentioned, I had to take a trip this weekend. So here's a little public service announcement. When making your plans especially if you're flying somewhere, that the airports line up with the city you're in. I made a huge mistake.
Oh my God,
Garrett. So I'm flying back. I had to go to Houston. I'm flying back to Houston. And when I'm making the arrangements, okay, Houston to Washington, Washington to Providence. A week before I go, I'm looking at my itinerary. I'm like, why does it have 2 different airport codes for Washington?
Oh no.
And I went, oh no. Yep. I flew into Reagan, but then I had to fly out of Dulles.
Oh no.
To get home. I'm like, and now I can't switch. And so when I said,
did you make your connection?
I did.
Okay.
But when I landed at Reagan, I said, I know what I'll do. You go to the big board where all the departures are. Maybe there's a flight to Providence that I can get on.
Oh, yeah.
And I was on United Airlines. Through United. And I'll say, can we just make the switch if there's an open seat? Can we just make the switch? And I look at the big board. There are no flights to Providence from United.
It's an easy mistake to make, and I have done it.
There's numerous cities that have
multiple
airports.
Yep,
Yeah.
I've done it.
And you just got to be aware of that. And, we're just so used to, it's green. There's one. Rhode Island, there's one. So anyway, so that's not an option. And so I'm looking at my phone. How do I get from DCA to IAD? Those are the codes. And they said, well, you can take the cheapest way. Take the subway. It was like $9. It'll take you like an hour and 5 minutes. I said, that's way too long. So you call up the Uber.
The Uber,
and
yes.
had to do the Uber. And so now I got to, because every airport's different, got to find out where to stand.
The Uber spot,
to get your Uber pickup, because if they wait more than 5 minutes, they leave.
Right.
So I'm in the right spot, and then I call for it. And I'm like, oh, please be close by. Please be close by, because I can't wait another 20 minutes for a car.
Yeah.
3 minutes. I was very lucky.
Wow.
The Uber was dropping someone off at the exact time I called for them. They said, well, be there in 3 minutes. Oh, fantastic.
Perfect, yeah.
And so it's a 40-minute drive between airports.
Wow.
But I made it in plenty of time. Dulles is huge.
It is. Yep.
I'm like, wow. Because it's after you get through security, then it's down the escalators, get on the train.
Oh, right. You had to put everything through security again,
That's what it
right?
stinks about.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I had to do the whole TSA
The whole thing.
all over again.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding. But, yes, you do. And every airport's different. Green, you got to take your laptop out of your bag. in Washington, didn't have to.
Right. And some places you don't have to take off your shoes anymore. I always take
I had
off
to
my
take-
shoes, but
I-
then I'm like,
I
why
was
is
even-
nobody else taking off their shoes?
No, but I had to do that and the belt.
Yep,
And
yep.
everything out of your pockets. That was all the same. But other places, yeah, keep the laptop in the bag. Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But you get yelled at either way, so.
Well, they were all very pleasant with me. It was funny. I was wearing my Rhode Island College polo shirt, and one of the TS agents said, and I forgot I was wearing it, and they said, "So, are you a professor?" I'm like, "Well, that's an odd question to ask me." I thought, no. Oh, we see the Rhode Island College. I said, "Oh, I'm an alum, so that's the only reason I'm wearing that." So,
Now, when you left, there was a high wind advisory.
oh my gosh,
How did that
We-
work out? Because
not well.
yeah,
So I had to fly.
I was
from-
worried about that.
I had to fly from Providence to Newark. Short flight. It's 45 minutes.
Small plane.
Smaller.
Yeah.
Two row and two on each side.
Yeah.
As we're going down the runway at Green Airport, we're already shaking back and forth.
Oh my gosh.
As we're going down the runway, we're not even in the air. I'm like, this is not going to be good. And we're banging back and forth as we're rising. We got above the cloud line or whatever, smooth right out for about 20 minutes. But then, when you're half an hour away from wherever you're landing, that's when the descent starts.
Start to go down.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Okay,
Yep.
so we come down almost immediately. Bang, 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 bang. It was so bad that the flight attendants don't want to say, "Oh, this is terrible. This is the worst we've ever had it," because they don't want anyone to panic. But it was silent on the plane, by the way.
Oh, yes.
There was
Yes.
just nothing. No one was saying
Just-
anything. But the flight attendants did say, "Okay, this is moderate turbulence." I've never heard the word moderate because that's bumped up from light.
Yeah, they would say minimal, whatever.
Yeah, this is moderate
Oh
turbulence.
my god.
And as a reminder, everyone, your airsick bags are right in front of you. I've never had anyone say that before either. And I'm like, yep, there it is, just in case.
I wondered about that. I would not have done well. I had one flight where it was really windy, and so coming from Atlanta, and actually our friend Adam was with me on the plane, but not sitting next to me. So we were descending, and like it was just shaking back and forth. You could tell we were going against the wind. It was like 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We're almost landing, and all of a sudden we start to go up again. And I'm like, what's going on? So he said, "Oh well, we're going to try this again, but if not, we're going to have to land in Boston."
Wow.
And again, silent. Nobody was
Yeah.
talking. And the woman next to me, she was flying in from Australia and was like the last leg of her flight. She just had her face in her hands. And I was just, oh my gosh. So we get off. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe, that landing was the most terrifying thing. And our friend Adam was like, oh, I don't know, I fell asleep.
Slept the whole thing?
Slept through it.
Wow.
I mean,
Good for
I was
him.
ready. I had my phone turned on. I was ready to call my mother. Like really, legit. I was scared. Like,
So when I had to leave Newark this time, of course it's still cold, it's still really windy. We're going down the runway, shaking back and forth again. I said, if once we get out of the East Coast, things are going to be much better. And it was a much smoother ride when we started going west. But as we're climbing from in Newark, and I'm towards the back of the plane, you could feel the back of the plane just shift and move to the
Yeah.
left.
Yep.
It
it's
felt like
terrifying.
you were like hit like by another vehicle, but there was no crash, so we didn't get hit by another plane. It's just, I said, boy, this wind is strong.
yeah.
And it's just,
I can't believe
we
you
got-
took off on time, but at
We
least
did,
I'm glad
and-
that you made it, despite your little
we gotta-
snafus. That's good.
and this is the other thing that I don't like that the airlines do. So this is my good example. Coming home, so we're going to go from Washington to Providence. Okay, we're going to leave at 5:05, and they say, and we're going to, and the flight's an hour and a half, so we're going to land at 6:30. We didn't actually leave, get up down the runway, get up in the air, 5:25. Okay, so we're leaving late, but we landed 6:30.
Right.
Makes it look like they're on time.
Right.
So they always tell you that.
Depends
even though
which
you never-
way. If you're going north, you're going with the jet stream.
You go a little
You go a little faster.
Yep.
You usually get there a little earlier.
But when I signed up, they said, okay, the flight's an hour and a half. When I got on the plane, oh, this is a 55-minute flight. Oh, we'll get there. I'll get there about
They
quarter
want
past
to make
6.
sure you get there on
Nope,
time.
we got
Yeah.
there. We got there at 6:30, right on time, just like they said they were going to. So, all right. Everyone's always got stories about the airport. Next thing, another public service announcement. If you're going to fly, the overhead bin is for your carry-on luggage. It's not
Yes.
for your coat.
Oh,
It's
tell
not.
me about
It's
it.
not
Tell
for
me
your
about it.
purse. It's not. It's not for anything else. And I don't get. It's not for you. I don't get it. And people
Seriously, people take off
automatically-
their windbreaker and throw it
it's
in there.
Coat and jacket
Like,
and
no.
scarf, and they're all throwing it up there. It's like, and
It
so
goes under your seat in front
it
of you.
goes under your seat. And the first thing I do when I get to the airport, especially when I'm flying in the wintertime, I don't bring a heavy jacket.
Mm-hmm.
It's warm in the airport. It's warm in the airplane.
Right.
I have a spring jacket with me, and then I take it off and put it in the carry-on. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't wear a jacket at all.
Right. Same.
But other people get this huge monster jackets, and then they got a sport jacket underneath it, and then there's a sweater involved. I'm like, you're gonna
Yeah.
sweat.
Don't do that.
I'm like, and then here come the flight attendants. Okay, we're taking whose is this? Here you go.
Oh,
okay,
see, I
now you
haven't
put
had-
your
I
bag
haven't
up.
seen
That,
that.
sir, that's
Right,
gonna have to
yeah,
go under the
right.
seat.
That was good that
Right.
they did that, yeah, because the space is so limited up there.
It is.
I mean, it's crazy, yeah.
I was like,
Usually,
wow.
you get on, like, you're one of the last people on. They're like, oh, you have to check your carry-on. You're like,
Yeah.
no, please
They were telling
no.
us that because I was in the way United does it. You're in group, unless you're in the really front people that get the board early. You're in group 1 through 5, and they tell people, okay, groups 4 and 5, you're probably gonna have to check your luggage because after 1, 2, and 3 get on, there's no more space. That's it. Sorry. So, but people still, try. They
Dude, just be
still try.
polite. Just be thoughtful.
And everybody was polite, and everything was fine, and there was no yelling and screaming, and there was
That's good, that's good.
no gnashing of teeth, and I'm going to sue the airline, and there was none of that. Although there was good confusion though at the airport in Washington, because I get my phone out where your boarding pass is now, and it tells me what gate I'm at. Okay, it's gate 5 for an example. I get to the airport, I look at the big board, make sure it still says gate 5. Gate 5 it is. I walk to gate 5. There on the monitor, no, it's been switched to gate 2. I walk down to gate 2. I get down to gate 2. It says Albany, New York. So where is it? Where am I supposed to go? I gave it another half an hour to see if something would change.
See if it switched, yeah.
Yeah, nothing changed. I finally went up there, and they said, "Oh, ask any questions. Ask a United agent." Nobody's around.
Of course.
Oh my god.
So, but eventually people showed up. Okay, so I went up to them and explained the situation. I go, Providence is supposed to be up there. They said, come down here. They look up on their computer. No, it's gate 5. I said, but I'm telling you, the monitor over there says gate 2. They said, yeah, I hope it hasn't changed. No one tells us anything. He's the gate agent.
God.
So one guy got on the phone. Okay, thanks, bye. Hung up. Okay, it's gate 5. And someone else heard it too. Is that for Providence? Yeah. Okay, so we all walk back to gate 5. And you can still see people walking up, look at the monitor, shake their head, start walking down to gate 2. They eventually started to make announcements. Okay, don't look at that monitor. It's wrong. And nobody has any access to
You
it.
couldn't fix it?
No one said, oh, I don't have access to that. Someone has access to how that gets fixed.
No kidding, yeah.
Someone puts in that data.
And
Someone.
the gate agents don't have it, and someone else didn't have it. He goes, I just don't have access to it. So they had to keep reminding people. And at the exact same gate where we was going to be another plane for Buffalo. And those people started showing up. No, they didn't have any clue
where they were going.
where they were going.
Oh
But
my
eventually
God.
they said, okay, they took off 10 minutes after us. So
It really depends on the airport.
it does.
It really does.
And it's just...
At least they were close by. 2 and 5 is not too far away. If it was like 22
Oh,
and 1,
you're
you'd be
like-
in trouble.
Gate 49.
You're another terminal, or me. You're in another airport. Oh boy. So, all right, the world's oldest dog. And it's just in the title. It's in Portugal. It's a purebred Rafeiro do Alejandro. That's the name of the dog, or the name of the species. It's 30 years old.
No way.
30 years and 270 days. This is Guinness has confirmed this. That's an old dog.
30 years.
30 years and 270 days. Oldest dog ever. And the breed typically lives anywhere between 12 to 14 years. This comes 2 weeks after an Ohio Chihuahua Spike was declared the oldest dog at age 23, but this one in Portugal takes it.
Poor Spike.
Yeah, Spike didn't last too long there.
Oh.
with the title. Sorry about that.
The dog I've ever had that lived the longest was 16 and a half. And I
Yeah.
thought that's a
That
long,
is
that's
a
a
long
good
time.
run for a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
It's my
long?
oldest relationship.
What
My
kind of-
longest relationship, right?
What kind of dog was it?
She was a mutt.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was a
bit of
hound,
this,
little
bit of
hound
that?
dog. Right.
Never-
Never had any problems.
Never
All-
sick, nothing like that?
No,
Never
no.
broke anything?
Just
no?
a good, normal dog.
And just passed away, old age.
Yep, old
kind of thing.
age.
This is-
Yep.
Okay.
Tail wagged every day.
Well, isn't that great? Well, that's so cool. All right, Garrett. Well, good luck at the meetings tonight. It's going to keep you busy.
Thank you very much. You can tune in on Facebook. There's a Woonsocket City Council page that you can watch the meeting. You can also watch it on YouTube. Still working on getting it back on cable, so hopefully that can happen at some point. But
All right. And we have it here for you on the radio, too.
That's
We sure
correct.
do.
In case
We sure do.
your internet connection goes down or whatever. All right. Thanks to Dan McKee, who joined us a little earlier today on the program. And Melissa Murray, thanks for coming in today as well.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Garrett, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good day.
All right, I'm Joe Callahan, and coming up next, it is At the Library with Leslie Page, and then it's Food First with Karen Zay and Gary, and don't forget Tiki Bar tonight at 6 on ON Radio.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
A polar vortex gripping the region over the weekend penetrated the warming center at the Cranston Street Armory in Providence.